All right, so let's take a look at the C++ program and talk a little bit more about the language. So C++ borrows a lot from C. And if I were to draw a Venn diagram of the relationship between C and C++, it looks something like this over here on the right side of the screen. C++ is kind of a superset, and C is kind of a core part of C++. And what that means is that most C code can be considered C++ code by default. There is a tiny little sliver of C that works differently as C code than it would if you tried to make it C++ code, but for the most part we can ignore that because it's not very likely to show up in most programs. And we can just pretend like C is a strict subset of C++. And what that means is that if some code looks like C code to you, then it works like C code, and you can also consider it C++ at the same time. So here's an example hello world program where I have my main function, I include standard io.h as my header, and then I call printf and print hello world. And then to indicate that it's C++ code, I'm going to save this file as hello.cpp. CPP standing for C++. Okay, and then what I do is I take my C++ compiler, not my C compiler, right? My C++ compiler, G++, and I run this program, this source code through and create a binary. And the G++ command works a lot like the GCC command you probably saw in EC209. And we just need to pass a few things in on the command line to get it to work. So we need to tell it the source file we want to compile. -O is used to say the name of the binary we're creating. In this case, we're going to call it hello. And then these couple of flags at the end, -WALL and -WERROR, they just say, they're just asking the compiler to warn us if we did anything wrong. Okay, and then after we compile, assuming we get no errors, we can run it by typing out the name of the binary directly on the command line. And then this is going to print hello world, exactly as you would expect. Okay, and that's a C++ program, and that's your first C++ program. Okay, so isn't that just C code? Yeah, it's C code. It's the exact same hello world code we wrote in 209. But as I said before, most C code can run just fine treated as C++. The difference here is that rather than using the C compiler, I used the C++ compiler. And having used the C++ compiler, now it's officially C++ code. Okay, however, even though I can treat C code as C++ code, that's usually not what we're going to do. C++ code is usually designed from a different mindset. While C programs are a collection of functions, like you saw in the previous snippet of code where I had a main function, C++ programs are really centered around the idea of objects. And when we write C++ code, we're typically thinking in terms of objects. So in the next few videos, we're going to talk more about that and what it means.